With our powers combined, we must fight for the freedom to sing. And 1, 2, 3. Ooh, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web and he sighs. Catches criminals just like flies. Look out! There goes the Spider-Man. Today on Comic Book Issues, we realize the Fantastic Four never had a catchy theme song. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to Comic Book Issues. I'm your host, Brian Heinz. There have been a lot of superhero teams over the years, but there's only ever really been one super family. Okay, the Inhumans. And the Shazam family. And, alright, but for the sake of today's show, there's only ever been one family that really counts. The Fantastic Four. And you can't mention the Four without mentioning their archenemy, Dr. Doom. The stories of Victor Von Doom and Reed Richards are tied together. Meeting in college, they were the two most brilliant young minds there, but when an unauthorized experiment by Doom destroys his face, he blamed Richards for his disfigurement. Learning the ways of magic and science, Doom would become the monarch of Latveria, and a man driven by ego to prove Richards his inferior. He would risk his life in the first Secret Wars, being literally dissected alive to get close enough to steal the alien Beyonder's power. He would save reality itself during another Secret Wars event, cobbling together a small set of alternate realities that he ruled over when reality itself collapsed. He even went to hell to free his mother's soul, bound by a pact she'd made to favor her young son's future. Time and again, Doom would conquer the world, or achieve ultimate power, only to lose it due to his own ego and sense of superiority. Most recently conquering the world and bringing about peace through oppression when he became the Sorcerer Supreme in One World Under Doom. But if Doom has one weakness, it might be Valeria Richards, the younger child of Reed and Sue. At a time when Reed was unavailable, Sue went into a dangerous labor. Johnny Storm, her brother, and the Human Torch got Doom to operate and save her life, thus granting him the knowledge that he had succeeded where Reed hadn't. His price? He got to name the girl. Valeria. Val, as her family calls her, has inherited her father's intelligence. Doom takes great pride in her, and in One World, she was the only person he was willing to argue his tactics with. That's not to say Dr. Doom is above using Val. Let's jump back to the year 2003 to what is considered one of the best modern runs of Fantastic Four. Here are issues 67, 68, 69, and 500 by Mark Waid and the late Mike Wieringo. This is Unthinkable. An old woman gives a man named Victor a palm reading as he searches for a woman named Valeria. The man wears a mask. He is Dr. Doom, and the course of his life can be traced to a decision he made as a boy. Doom is in a small town in Georgia, full of fortune tellers. Having his tea leaves read, he remembers a time when his tribe of Romani traveled the forests of Eastern Europe, and he gave a present to his girlfriend, Valeria. When he became an orphan, Valeria became his world, as he threw himself into both science and sorcery, eventually going to the United States to study the former. Continuing his search, a baby bursts into tears next to Doom. Though he apologizes to the mother, she explains that it can't be his mask upsetting the child. Her baby is blind. Then that child must sense the true evil of my soul, and...
Hi, Iron Man!
And I'm Dr. Doom.
You're clearly Iron Man!
I just said I'm Dr. Doom.
No. You can't have the guy who played Iron Man then playing Dr. Doom. That's just going to confuse people.
Look, can I just get back to what I'm doing here? Thank you very much. Then the child must sense the true evil of my very soul.
P.U., when was the last time you bathed?
Richards! As Doom's search continues, he remembers that Valeria put forth an ultimatum when he was about to leave. Go and study science or stay and learn magic. He chose science, believing it would deliver power to him. He met Reed Richards, was burned, and became Dr. Doom. Valeria knows what he's become and went into hiding, but the seer tells Doom that she's just down the street. They meet and he presents her with a locket containing their childhood pictures. He loves her and wants her to come home, but she won't go. He's a monster now and she no longer loves him. He removes his mask. She's doubtful, but he intends to reject science. If she returns, he will be a changed man thanks to her love. She can't promise anything but is open to talking to him and gives her hand to him. Suddenly the locket is bursting with arcane energy and she is covered in strange magical symbols. In agony, she demands to know what is happening. Dr. Doom explains that once long ago, he chose science over magic. He wants to choose again. A cabal of demons offer to make him the sorcerer he could have been if he sacrificed something only she could give him. Her love. Her skin unwraps itself and covers Doom, leaving only a skeleton behind.
They will always be together, he promises in his new magical armor. Back in New York, Johnny, now in charge of the Fantastic Four's finances, has been refusing to pay Ben, who decides to escalate their prank war with a giant water balloon. Reed and Sue are in another dimension where her invisibility doesn't work. Reed thought the alien inhabitants spoke binary, but it turns out to be trinary, so his speech mistranslated into an insult and they were attacked. And on the moon, Big Brother Franklin is encouraging Val's first words as the Inhumans, Medusa and Crystal, babysit. The parents collect the children via teleporting mirror and return home. There, Sue takes Val to feed her, while Reed and Franklin reluctantly agree to help Johnny prank Ben, if only to rein in Johnny's more destructive tendencies. Ben, meanwhile, gets a payday loan from Sue and also tries to get Val to speak. But as Val plays, Doom appears on her tablet. When Val was born, Doom bound her to him. She is, in essence, his familiar, a conduit for him to use magic. And while he promised her he would always protect her, he will use her to avenge his burnt face on the rest of her family. Reed and Johnny try out their new hiccup inducer, but it releases arcane energy. The energy chases Franklin, and Reed tries to teleport his son back to the Inhumans. But elsewhere, it looks like baby Val is about to say her first word. Doom.
Still nicer than my first word. Why, I remember it like it was a flashback. Come on, son. Say dada. Dada.
In the year 2018, fear the orange man who once sold mail-order steaks, for he is a false prophet.
Barb, he said dada.
The energy scrambles the teleporter just as Franklin steps into it. His son is sent to hell. Johnny stops Reed from going in and has him focus on keeping the portal open, but a wall swallows the boy up as a demon dog's arcane puke shoots Johnny back out, wrecking the equipment and burning Johnny's leg, something that should be impossible. Ben puts it together. This is Doom's doing. Reed confirms that he's watching them. Their daughter's eyes are blue. Furious that Victor is hiding behind his own children, Reed calls him out. Through Val, he answers. In Latveria, Doom converses with a trio of demons, the Hazareth Three.
Foul demons I name thee, Mo, Larry, and Beelzebub.
Why, you?
Mo is the leader.
The demons find his sacrifice most enjoyable. Now, he acts as their agent, but Doom is quick to point out this is a partnership. He owes them nothing save acknowledgement as his equals. The four fly to Latveria. They will hit hard and fast and force Doom to return Franklin and free Val from his possession. Ben decides to contact Dr. Strange, but Strange blows him off. We see Strange is in a trance, his sanctum invaded by imps, as he woodenly explains that he could have been vulnerable to a sneak attack by Dr. Doom. Ben admits this is smart. Doom is finally playing to magic, the one area where Reed's incredible knowledge falls short. His refusal to acknowledge magic is because he doesn't understand it. Not even Reed likes feeling stupid. As soon as they cross into Latveria, the Fantastic car shorts out. They crash, but Sue force fields them out. Dr. Doom is waiting. She demands her son be returned. He diverts her force field and blasts Torch with a snowstorm. An illusion is cast on Reed, who switches places with Doom and gets punched by Ben. Reed sends Ben away with Val, while using a gun that should short out any energy or circuitry he's using. Reed, Sue, and Johnny hit him with everything, but still it isn't enough. Doom was faking, and with his magic turns off the four's abilities, even teleporting Val back to his hands. The thing wallops Doom, breaking his neck in a 180-degree spin, until he reaffixes it. Then summoning a group of mindless one drones to attack Ben. He offers to release their child, showing them Franklin's still in hell if the four surrender to him. Beaten, Reed surrenders, and Doom places Val on the ground, thus releasing their child before sealing the portal. In a dungeon, the thing is beaten as Doom explains to Val that he's restored her family's powers, but to different members. Johnny is being stretched and Sue set on fire. Reed is simply locked in a room. He begs Victor to release his family. The reason he hates Reed is because he's Mr. Fantastic, professing to be the smartest man alive, a title he does not deserve. Doom will give him a chance. The door is sealed by a basic enchantment. This library contains all the books needed to teach Reed magic. When he's ready to break the spell and come out, Doom will be waiting.
Hello, I'm Reed Richards, the smartest man alive. And I never learned to read. Which is ironic because, my name is Reed, although it's spelled like the water plant and not the action of interpreting writing. Well, back to the review.
Reed spends hours reading, but is frustrated. He knows that fundamentally he can't understand magic and knocks a candle over. The fire, however, sends him a message. The books swirl about him and the astral form of Stephen Strange appears. He gets Reed to read an incantation, completing his summoning. Strange can't reunite with his body right now, so Reed demands he teach him magic. Doom checks on his victims, lamenting that they must suffer for Reed's continued interference in Doom's attempts to reach his destiny. Reed attempts a teleport spell, but instead of inside Strange's home, he winds up on the street in front of an oncoming car. Thankfully, his elasticity has returned. Reed blames the spell, but Strange tells him using magic is more about knowing your place in the universe. It's not about specific gestures and tones, more intuitive. Strange attempts to instruct Reed, but it only causes an arcane backlash that hurts his family. To be successful at magic, Reed must stop analyzing. He has to feel his way through magic, not question its illogical nature. Reed momentarily stuns Doom, but quickly loses control. He doesn't understand magic, but Steven knows that on a fundamental level he refuses to understand. But unless he accepts that he will not understand magic, it won't work for him. Doom, alerted to Reed's escape, reinforces the bonds holding Strange. As he disappears, he gives Reed a device and tells him that he'll have to find his own magic words. Steven, then, is imprisoned with Franklin as Reed works his way through a litany of words, but it's only when he calls himself an idiot that the device Strange gave him activates. Doom teleports to America to find Reed, unleashing a demon host on the population. When Reed admits to himself that he can't figure it out, the device repairs a broken vase. Doom strides into the Sanctum Sanctorum, demanding Reed show himself. Well, he's there, with his family. They blast Doom as Reed grabs Vale, stretching her over to a daycare to be temporarily cared for. Sue goes for the soft points. Ben punches him into a canyon wall. Reed uses the talisman to beat Doom down. Doom manages to fight back, but he realizes too late Sue has been making Johnny invisible. Full-on Nova heat. Johnny passes out and Doom is on his last legs. Doom muzzles Reed, but not before he fires off a last blast, then punches Doom while borrowing Ben's catchphrase. Reed finally figures it out. When he saw his family suffering, he realizes that there are invisible threads that connect us all. They confront Doom in Strange's home. Reed pulls a play from Victor's book and starts talking down to him. He's not smart enough to truly understand magic. Reed pities Doom. Doom fancies himself supreme, but he can't even recognize that magic requires you to admit your inferiority and that you serve a greater power than yourself. Doom declares this unthinkable and proudly announces that he needs no one. Something the Hazareth demons take offense at. By refusing to acknowledge them, Doom has violated their agreement. They drag Victor to hell, giving Johnny, Reed, and Sue enough time to fly in after them. They find and reunite with Franklin and the comatose Dr. Strange. Doom begs Reed for help. He apologizes for never listening to him, but Reed knows he's a liar. All Victor ever wanted was for Reed to live in his shadow, but he will do his best to forget Dr. Doom. Doom has other thoughts as he reaches out for Reed with a handful of arcane energy. Ben finally manages to pull Reed out of the portal. Doom is gone forever, right? Yes, but he has left a mark on Reed Richards permanently.
And by permanently, I mean his face was fine in a couple of issues. Reed would eventually fix his face, and Doom would escape hell after Thor's hammer tore through several dimensions post-Ragnarok. So, unthinkable. Not anything Doom did, but rather Reed Richards, having to stretch beyond his comfort zones. Does this story hold up? Is it one of the best Doctor Doom stories of all time, or should it hide behind a mask somewhere? Let's take a closer look at Fantastic Four 67 through 69 and issue 500.
I think we have to acknowledge that these 4 issues transfer the main focus of the story off the Fantastic Four and squarely onto Dr. Doom. That first sequence, especially of Doom looking for his long-lost girlfriend, is a masterclass in the Dictator's mindset. Victor seems to finally have a regret about how he's lived his life, the numerous battles he's had that have blown up in his face. No pun intended. He begs his girlfriend to come back to him and give him another chance. But though the language seems sound, it reveals more about us than Doom in thinking he could ever change. Fundamentally, Victor Von Doom will never believe he's made a mistake. He's a narcissist to the nth degree. He does not make mistakes, and he does not apologize for the mistakes he never made. Doom doesn't do regret. He will cross any line if it furthers his singular goal of proving his superiority to every living person on Earth. From there, it becomes once again Doom's fatal flaw. He can't acknowledge anyone as his equal, even the demons empowering him. They don't want to be worshipped. They don't want to own his soul. They just want to be his partners. These are the most even-keeled, non-needy demons I've ever met. Mark Waid, allegedly something of an egomaniac himself, understood Doom. He understood what drives him and how to fashion a story around him that would truly put the Fantastic Four to the test. The other major character in this story is his nemesis, Reed. Johnny, Sue, Ben, the kids, even Dr. Strange are just supporting characters. This is about the rivalry between Reed and Doom, perhaps the most famous rivalry in the Marvel Universe. That is the driving force behind this plot, the humbling of Reed Richards being the one thing Dr. Doom might ever admit to needing. Reed understands logic. He understands the way the universe works, even at those theoretical, subatomic levels 99.999% of the population will never understand. But magic? A force that doesn't follow rules? That's the one thing he can't wrap his flexible mind around. Making magic the crux of defeating Doom is brilliant. Forcing Reed outside his comfort zone to save his family makes him stretch figuratively for the tale. And I personally feel that Valeria's first word is one of the all-time greatest moments in Fantastic Four history. The story is also carried by the beautiful art of the late Mike Wieringo. His style is cartoonish, but then so is the family. A man of flames flying about, an out-of-proportion orange rock man, A stretchy guy and a girl just goes away whenever the action starts. It would almost seem impossible to draw Doom scary with this style, but he manages it, thanks in part to the coloring of the book. Great art and a great story showcasing the Marvel Universe's most flawed villain.
I caution you, good people of the internet. Unthinkable is not a great Fantastic Four story. It is, however, a great Doctor Doom story. Appropriately, I give Fantastic Four Unthinkable 4 out of 5 stars. With Doom's coming rise to power in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this story is a wonderful example of the megalomaniac at his most dangerous. And knowing a time may come that I don a mask and strike out at my superiors, I call that Thursday, I'll see you back here next time for more comic book issues. I'm your host, Brian Heinz.